Welcome back to the Deadology Podcast. From Pencil Hill Studio, New Paltz, New York, I'm your host, Howard Weiner. Today is February 3rd, 2025, and this is Season 3, Episode 3 of the podcast. And this one's titled Close Encounters of a Psychedelic Kind. Of course, I'm talking about the January 22nd, 1978 show in MacArthur Court, Eugene, Oregon. Show revered and loved, but maybe best remembered for the Close Encounters space that the Grateful Dead played on that night. But just a super show, and I got Doug Schmell on board with me this week. We did a Zoom call a couple days ago. And he's, as usual, very fired up about the show, loves this one. So we got into a nice little conversation about that. And before we go to the call, I just want to mention that being that we're in February, this is Jerry Garcia Band month. Last year I did the same thing during February, Jerry Garcia Band all month. So for the rest of the month, we're going to be getting into different Jerry Garcia Band shows. And I like doing the Jerry month and doing Jerry, episode podcast, just because it's a lot rarer, a lot harder to download and find than obviously the Grateful Dead, which is very easy to access everything. So everybody out there seems to like these Jerry Garcia Band episodes. So for the rest of the month of February, Jerry Garcia Band month. And now on to our featured show this week. Eugene, Oregon. Let's go to the Zoom call with Doug Schmell. Hey, it's time to bring back a key contributor to the Deadology podcast and legendary Grateful Dead taper, Mr. Doug Schmell. Doug, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Howie. Thanks for having me on the show. Wow, what a show we're about to pontificate.
Yeah, we're gonna pontificate. We're gonna throw things around. It's a pretty awesome show. Took me by I'll tell you what the show is, and it took me by surprise because I had the tape of it back in the day. I had the second set, Close Encounters, this and that. But man, I really didn't know the show. I would tell people, hey, it's a great show. They do St. Stephen, but I really never took in the show before. It's an awesome as a whole, the show. And what I'm talking about, January 22nd, 1978, MacArthur Court, Eugene, Oregon, on the campus. That's the campus of Oregon, right?
Yeah, correct. The University of Oregon in Eugene, Oregon.
Correct.
And, yeah, they were, one of the top teams in college football this year.
Yep, and the basketball teams have been pretty good through the years. They're usually overshadowed by UCLA and Bill Walton. Bill Walton Bill was probably at this show. He was with the Portland Trailblazers at the time, I think.
Correct.
Yeah, so a great show. It was immortalized and released. I think it's Dave's Picks 23. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I never got it. I know you got it, and you had a chance to love the show. And
oh my God, Howie, I'll tell you, I heard the show when it was released, and of course, just like you, I had it on tape years ago, and I knew about the Close Encounters jam. That's kind of what made it famous. But I was taken by storm when I listened to it again in preparation for our interview, which was about a week and a half ago, driving to Sarasota on one of my trips. And from the get-go, this show just sizzles. It sizzles. It's truly unbelievable. It's as good as any show from '77. Better.
Yep. It kind of reminds me of Colgate. You got the small gym. You got the Dead in their prime, just
correct.
You're just going at it full force.
Another similarity, they're playing at a university in front of college campus. To me, that's the Dead at their best, trying to turn on, this new blood, younger generation. It's incredible. You think of some of the shows that they've played in front of college university and they just sizzle. I mean, Cornell. Think of Cornell, you think of Colgate, MacArthur Court. This was something that went by name. You didn't even have to know the show. Everybody said, oh, you know that show from MacArthur Court? Everybody knew that was 12278. I want to add something else. I've been guilty of kind of neglecting 1978. I'm so into my 72 to 74, my core years that I've neglected 1978. And that's going to change. And part of it changing is because I told you, I got the box set that was released last year of the shows from April 78. They're all unbelievable Betty boards that sound incredible. And I remember getting those shows. April 6th, April 7th, April 8th. You and I had discussed that April 11th with the unbelievable Scarlet Fire on the Mountain. Unbelievable show in Duke on April 12th. April 15th, William and Mary. Unbelievable. So these shows I kind of neglected over the years because I was so focused on 72. And now getting these Betty boards and listening to them again, it's just incredible how hot the Dead were. The April tour of 1978 is as good as the May tour in 1977, if you ask me.
False.
And this show, yeah, it's, a lot of
Yeah.
people would disagree with it, but they're right there. I'm telling you, they were that hot. And
As
this
hot as
show,
they played, I would agree with their playing as hot, but they just didn't have the same
right,
sort. They had much more intention to play great shows and have great set lists in May of
in
'77.
77,
Yeah.
but they were so hot in 78 too. I'll tell you, it took me by surprise listening to that box set. So when I listened to this show, I was expecting, oh, the show should be good. It's 78, and they were on such a nice run in April. This show 3 months earlier is just phenomenal. It's easily one of the top three shows, if you ask me, of 1978. Easily top five. To me, you got the William and Mary 4/15/78 is up there. That Duke show that I mentioned that I didn't know. Oh my God, that show's incredible. 4/12/78.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody knows Red Rock 7/8/78, even the day before 7/7. This show is right up there with the best shows of
Yeah,
1978.
and we can't leave out Dick's Picks Volume 18, the one that you got February 3rd, Madison, February 5th.
And correct,
I,
that's
I
both shows mixed together. Both those shows are hot,
yeah, I think
very
the
hot.
February 5th one is just incredible. Great
Yeah, that's the
songs. Yeah,
Unidome. That's
yeah,
a great show. In fact, Howie, on so that's coming up February 5th. I'm driving actually to Orlando for a comic show. I'm listening to that Dick's Picks
I
recording.
thought you
I'm
said
so
I'm driving to Iowa, man,
to
to
pay homage. Yeah.
take up residence in Iowa.
But anyway, getting back to MacArthur Court, I'm telling you, man, the energy is just palpable. I mean, they're playing in a basketball arena in front of 9,000 fans. You could assume most of them, are college students, a lot of them probably seeing their first show, and they break out with this incredible Minglewood that I'm telling you takes you by storm. You don't know. You're like, what the fuck? Jerry's on fire this early in the show. They're out to prove something. They're on a mission.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. Sounds great. The Wolf guitar and the way it sounds in Dire Wolf as well.
Oh,
And
it's
yeah,
incredible. Getting back to to the start of the show, the Minglewood really cooks to open up the show. I mean, the first jam, Jerry just says, "We are here to do business. We
yeah,
are going to conquer this University of Oregon, attendance, and we are going to lay down the law." And that's what they do from the first freaking get-go. Not even a minute in, you're like, "Whoa!" Could you imagine just being there? Getting set up with your friends, you're on the floor, whatever, I'm sure most kids got general admission on the basketball floor, and this unbelievable band just starts hitting the notes from Minglewood, and then Jerry does his first solo. It must have been really unbelievable to
yeah.
see,
It's an incredible venue. I think it was voted like in 2001. They don't play ball there anymore, but it was voted as the best place to see college basketball in 2001
Wow.
because there
Yeah,
was so much energy, and it was a very tough place for opponents to come into.
of
So
course, of course.
it was an easy place for the Grateful Dead to come into. They were able to tap into the energy of this place for sure.
Yeah, so that Minglewood, I'll tell you, it's to me one of the best. What a great opening too, I'll tell you. Minglewood didn't open up that many shows, maybe a couple in 77, a few in 78, but they really, really take off and kill it. They also opened up, I mentioned that tour from April of 78. There's a show that wasn't on the box set. That's from Pittsburgh, 4/18/78. They also, I
Yeah, I've
believe,
heard
opened
that.
up a
Yeah,
show with the Minglewood. By the way, that show has an incredible sugaree. You may not know about that. Whoa, boy, that's an
but
incredible sugaree.
probably the second
4/18/78.
solo is the one that where it goes off. I think I heard that and was surprised by it one day. I was listening to it on the Grateful
Yes,
Dead
that's
channel.
an amazing second solo. But anyway, getting back to University of Oregon, I'll tell you, the Dire Wolf you had mentioned is amazing. That song became a staple in 78. And a lot of times it was in the number two hole of the first set. And that's a perfect placement for me, for Dire Wolf. Get a nice Jerry, a bouncy Jerry song in. It's funny, you can still hear in Jerry's voice traces of the laryngitis that he had going back to San Diego. When I think two of the shows were all Bobby shows because Jerry just couldn't talk or sing. But by now his voice was back, but you could hear the raspiness in it. But he sounds great.
Yeah,
But there's
and it keeps
traces.
getting better as the show rolls along.
Exactly, exactly. So the Direwolf's great, getting back to the first set, the Cassidy, that's a very also a familiar spot for Cassidy, the third spot in the first set. They did that a lot in 78. And those Cassidys are great. They're shorter, than the ones they're 79, 81, whatever. They started really emphasizing the jam as they went on, in the years. But this was a shorter but more focused jam to me. These 77, 78 Cassidys, they're
Yeah,
great.
definitely.
Love the song.
Good one. I liked it a lot. And then we go on to Peggy O, and
Yeah.
that's great early in the show.
Oh my
Fourth
God.
spot.
A lot of 78 shows, Peggy O will be found in the fourth slot. And I'll tell you, this is a great Peggy O. They really started hitting their stride. I believe 78 is the best year for Peggy O, even better than 77. This one, you got the one from William and Mary. That's incredible. The one from Huntington, which is the next night after William and Mary, that many people consider the hottest Peggy O ever, and I agree with that. It's incredible.
I have to go back to it, man.
Oh my God, it's phenomenal how you'll laugh when you hear Jerry solo. It's comical. He hits these notes where you're like, holy shit, how does he do that?
Yeah.
Also the one from Duke, 4/12/78. So they were really getting into the Peggy. They must have played it out of the 8 shows found in that box set that I talked about that they released from April 78. They probably played 5 or 6 sets.
Hey, while you're mentioning some great
shows,
Peggy-Os, in 77, just to mention a couple, you got the English Town where you got 2 solos in there. And there's one from 12/27, which has an incredible jam from the New Year's Eve run. So a hot time for Peggy-O, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. I think 78 is the best year for Peggy-Os. And this one is no exception. It's phenomenal. 3 rounds in the jam, and some of these he extends it to 4, but it's amazing. He just gets into it and he hits these melodic notes, and you just really appreciate Jerry Garcia as this is inventive guitarist, for the notes that he can hit during the middle of the song that he doesn't think he's hitting before he starts the song. It's just, feeling and in the moment, right? And creativity and listening to the crowd, listening to him, it's just such an amazing symbiotic, relationship, Grateful Dead and the audience that creates this kind of music. It really does, So first 4 songs in, phenomenal so far. I really, truly believe that. And to me, the best 4 songs are the 4 songs that end the first set.
Yeah, exactly. The show,
which you and I will discuss in greater detail, starting with the El Paso. El Paso, look, by this point in the show, they're definitely going to do a cowboy song, be it Mama Tried into Mexicali, Mexicali into Mama Tried, Big River into me and my uncle, or the more standard Me and My Uncle into Big River. But El Paso, I also welcome, in this 5th spot, if you will, of a first set. They're great. They're bouncy, this one's no exception.
Yep. So from Fenario to El Paso, we're headed to Tennessee.
Oh my God. You had to mention that, Howie.
This is where
maybe we could get
man.
by without mentioning. You know what? To me, this might be the greatest Tennessee Jet of all time. I mean, I think there's one from, is it Philadelphia? Maybe it's 11/25/79. I know there's one that's people rave about, but this one, I heard it 3 times, Howie.
Yeah,
heard it 10 days ago on my ride to Sarasota. Heard it again a couple of nights ago because I was driving to meet some buddies for dinner, and I wanted to rekindle the show, and I was laughing. I was cracking up in the car to Jerry solo, literally.
And then this week I rewound it about 5 times the Tennessee Jet.
And I heard the Tennessee Jet on the drive to go to the post office and get a bite to eat right before this interview. And I'm telling you, it is unreal. One of the greatest ones I've ever heard. It's comical.
Yeah.
Jerry's solo. It's like, how does he think of these notes in the middle of this song? It just baffles your brain. How does he do it?
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's that good.
This show, in a way, there's a couple of things. A Tennessee Jet from our early days, Binghamton '77. I don't know if you remember that.
Of course I do. There's some great notes in that one.
Yeah.
Great notes. This is a little longer, more extended, and I actually like this one a little better.
He finishes
that
it
one
off
to me was the standard 77 one. Great notes at the end. I love it. Also comical. You're like, how does Jerry think of this stuff? It's just amazing. This one might be a little better. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, I think so.
He hits.
Yeah. Hey, at this point, we can't go on talking about it. We got to play the. Yeah, we usually don't play a Tennessee Jet, but we got to do the jam.
Oh, we have
folks.
to. This one is where get your seatbelts on, folks.
All right, there we go. Some serious yearning for Tennessee, longing for Tennessee. Incredible, man. So this is really the turning point of the show. It's a really good show, and from this point forward, it goes off the rails, man.
Yeah, the next song, oh my God, the seventh song, it really is one of the greatest versions. Again, just like the sixth song, Tennessee Jed, to me, this is easily one of the greatest Jack Straws I ever heard. It's not the longest, it's short, from those 77, 78, comparisons. It's right there, with the focused jamming and the singing, but something about this version. I can't explain the fanning, what a lot of people
Yeah,
like to call the scrubbing. That's another word for the fanning, scrubbing. I've heard that term too. Yeah, it's
that's pretty good. I never used
phenomenal.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the same thing as the fanning. When Jerry just hits those chords and he hits it so fast, but with power, intent, meaning, creativity. It's not just some bozo on a guitar. He
yeah.
does it with just
Yeah.
unbelievable intent and focus. It's
Nobody could shred the chords like Jerry,
yeah,
man.
no, it's amazing. And this Jack Straw just it's otherworldly because while he's fanning, he hits for 5 seconds or maybe longer. It's just phenomenal where you're just, how does he do this again? It's just to me, again, what creates this sort of aura, environment, atmosphere where Jerry just takes off like that. And I think, again, it's playing in front of a college crowd in a great venue with all these college kids in front of him, clapping and singing and dancing. It's got to really motivate, the greatest, musician in you. And that creativity just peaks. And, again, that's why I think these kind of shows playing in a college, small venue. Again, this is, probably holds 10,000 people. If it's jam packed, 9,000, 10,000, still fairly big, but it's still compared to these outdoor stadiums and compared to Madison Square Garden and the Spectrum, right? And the Baltimore Civic Center, a smaller place like this really brings out to me the best in the Grateful Dead, you
Yeah, no
know?
doubt.
What do you
And
think?
for some reason, this show has that East Coast intensity, like the
Correct.
Colgate, Binghamton.
Correct.
Yeah, usually the shows out west will be a little more laid back. Not this
Oh,
one.
always. They're
This
always
one,
laid back.
this one could be mistaken for East Coast if you just put it on in the middle.
Absolutely.
It's
And that's another point that I probably failed to mention at the beginning. Oregon is a serious dead state. I mean,
yeah,
as much as California, there are definitely to me hotter on the East Coast. But as far as some of the venues that they play at that they're hot in California, the Winterland is always a great venue to see the Dead. Also, to me, like the Hollywood Palladium, they played some shows there. They're all great. I've been to the Hollywood Palladium, not to see a concert, actually, for a comic convention. I'm just picturing where the Dead, because I saw where the stage was, and I'm like, this is a phenomenal place to see a show. I could see why the Dead would be hot. 8-6-71,
yep,
right?
yeah,
Incredible show. It's one of the greatest shows they've played. It's probably, best show of 1971, Hollywood Palladium. So to me, Oregon is just like California. It brings out the best in the dead, especially the area of Eugene. They
yeah.
love it. Always
When
have.
when they show political maps, there should be red states, blue states, and dead states. So, Oregon, dead state,
Well, that's
California,
New
Iowa, New
Jersey.
York.
New
Yeah,
Jersey's the dead capital on the East Coast.
yeah.
New Jersey. That's a dead state. So yeah, we're just talking. It's amazing. So the Jack Straw cooks like up to that point. That's the greatest Jack Straw they ever
Yeah,
played.
up to January 22nd, 78, definitely. And one thing about so you got the fanning, and it's one thing to do the fanning and like be really hot like that. The band is cooking. Like
Oh, absolutely.
Jerry couldn't switch directions because the force of the music was like it was
Correct.
just too
Everybody's on.
powerful.
Phil is on. Donna singing is on. Bobby's on. The drums are great. You got the two drummers here. Amazing. It
So
truly
all
is.
Jerry could do is like find ways to extend the shredding and the fanning, and it was incredible. The warp
Correct.
speeds, man, pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And no, I would. It's easily the best Jack Straw up to this point. And to me, it's still top five greatest Jack Straws I've ever heard. Just for the climactic jamming, that fanning is unbelievable. It's so in the moment. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. And then the eighth song is amazing. Row Jimmy with slide guitar, with just that Mouton effect that he has that he uses in certain songs, back in 77, 78. Beautiful. This Row Jimmy is amazing. It really is.
After the intensity of the Jed and the Jack Straw, Road Jimmy fit beautifully there.
Oh, perfect.
It's
Yeah,
so enjoyable to listen to after
absolutely. I
to
agree with
kind
you.
kind of regroup for the finale.
Yeah, it's a 10-minute version. I love it when they do that. I say row. They do that a couple times. They only do it two times here. As they continued on in 78, some, row jimmies, they would do like three, four times. I say
Yeah.
row, and then they really get into it. The singing's great. I've always loved Row Jimmy. I don't know why. There's something about that song, maybe the lyrics, you know, just it really captures to me, the essence of the Jerry ballads. Ron Jimmy's probably never been a second set song. If it had, probably in 73, maybe they did one or two, when they started playing the song. But it's a perfect ballad in the first set. It really is.
Yeah, and just the way to be repetitive with a song but not get boring. Even at the end, they start doing more like I guess it would be calypso type rhythms with the Row
Correct.
Jimmy towards
A
the
little
end,
different.
and
Yeah,
a
I
little
love it.
reggae-ish. So it's yeah, it's
Correct.
just
It is different.
taking
Yeah.
row your boat ashore and doing it for 10 but there's like a certain brilliance to be able to just lose yourself in a song like that and just keep it rolling. And yeah, Row Jimmy definitely it's like a hypnotic's definitely the best way. It's a perfect hypnotic song kind of between powerful
Oh, correct,
songs.
correct. At first I thought the best Row Jimmies were in 73, and I probably still do when the song came out. There's some incredible versions with some really more heartfelt notes from Jerry. A great one is 10/19/73. Check when that went out. 6/22/73, the one from Canada, from Vancouver, is also amazing. And also the one from the Paulie Pavilion. That's a great one. So folks out there, if you want to hear Great Row Jimmy, that's 11/17/73. Those to me are better because I like the tone of Jerry's guitar. But I'll tell you, these 78 ones are incredible. If you want to hear one that's as heartfelt as those 73 ones that'll blow you away, check out the one from Duke, 4/12/78. It is phenomenal. Some of the greatest heartfelt notes that Jerry's ever hit, I'm telling you. And this one from MacArthur Court is not too far behind. It's right there. And that sets up the set ender, which to me is the perfect ending in this kind of environment, for a first set, in a college, auditorium. The music never stopped. I'll tell you, Howie, it blew me away. I've listened to this just like the Tennessee Jed now and the Jack Straw and the Minglewood three times for this interview. And each time I noticed and found something new that I hadn't heard before, within the jam. It's just incredible. This music never stopped. It's not as good probably as the one, the famous one that you and I love as much as anybody, which is
War
obviously
Memorial. Yeah.
War Memorial in Buffalo, which is incredible, 5/9/77. But I'll tell you, so this one cooks, and it's right up there with the best musics they've ever done. I think so.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's like the Jack Straw. They have a certain motif locked in now where they definitely
Yes.
got the fanning and but really
And
doing creative things with it. And
the scrubbing. I
the
love that
scrubbing.
word. I'm going to use it now.
I've never
Scrubbing.
used it. Yes,
Yeah.
I
Oh
got to
man,
toss
does
it
he
around.
scrub? At the end of this music, the scrubbing is as poignant and as loud and as powerful as he's ever done before. I'm
Was it
telling you.
like Brillo pad scrubbing or
Yeah, maybe that's where they got it from, but it's true. I'll tell you, can you imagine being in that crowd, a young, impressionable college student, might be a freshman or sophomore. You heard the Grateful Dead are coming for, the weekend. I don't know if it was homecoming or it was one of the, they happened to get the Dead for, I'm sure, I think it was was it a Saturday night? You know what? I forgot. Maybe it was a Tuesday, but I forgot the night of the week. But anyway, that's easy to get. But just picture it's a packed crowd. You're seeing this, and maybe for your first time seeing the Grateful Dead, you're like befuddled. Like, how could I have been missing on this kind of music? How could they, like, they came to my college town and ripped the gym apart. And now I'm here to be witness, and to tell the tale of how great the show was. I know some people who have, posted on the Internet Archive that they were at the show, and they said it was just amazing, amazing atmosphere, just an amazing place to see a concert. And I'm just picturing students who were there, just listening to the music never stop, and then the lights come on, and then you see your friends. You must be, what the fuck did we just witness? Literally.
yeah.
Because if music, as we know, is that driving power, I mean, I could just, sir, this is as good as any first set that I've ever heard. It really is, Howie. It's in my top three greatest first sets I've ever heard. It's up there.
I
There's no
think
doubt.
I think your first show has a better first set.
My first show is a great first set, but I think this one's hotter. I do. That first set's great. It ends with my first show. If everybody didn't know, it's from August 30th, 1980, from the Spectrum of
You got the best
Philadelphia.
Althea and Straw.
Incredible. The Althea Jackstraw is unreal, but something about this Tennessee Jackstraw road Jimmy music never stopped that followed the incredible Minglewood, the great Dire Wolf, the beautiful Peggio. Something about this first set, it's perfect. I know you were thinking of, or you might still be in the process of writing a book on perfect sets, and I truly believe this set has to be in there. This first set is perfect.
That's pretty
Perfect.
close.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
about 70 minutes long. It's almost maybe just short of 70 minutes. It's not that long, but it's perfect. Perfect. And again, just imagine yourself having been there. Bobby says, we're going to take a short break and you can too. I think those are the exact words he uses before. And then the lights come on. You must have been like, what the hell did I just see?
you've seen Primal Dead. Dick Latvala. Did I pronounce his? Did I get that right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Latvala. Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, the archivist, Dick's Picks. So he came out with one from 1011 Oklahoma, 1011 77. He called that one of the examples of Primal Dead. And when I think of
correct.
Primal Dead, I think of like that October 9th show the night before where the band is just playing. It's demonic almost. It's like, how do they get so? It's almost like the Grateful Dead, almost in heavy metal mode, except
Correct. Correct.
totally creative in that
No, no,
mode.
Primal is, but a
But
lot of people refer Primal Dead to like 69, 70,
yeah,
68, 70, when they were, before they did the slower songs after
raw, totally raw.
Crosby,
And
after they got some songwriting techniques and after they really, really honed their skills into songwriting. But you're right, this is Primal Dead. Like
I think they
it's
got that back
incredible.
like in late 77 and early 78. They got that kind of like crazed intensity going. So yeah,
Oh, I agree.
yeah,
In your book, Terrapination, you describe it as that muscular 77 sound. That's a great,
yeah,
Howie, that's a great description. I mean, you can't get more muscular than this first set. I'm serious. I
yeah.
mean, I remember it was a hot show, but boy, I mean, now the third time, really, I've heard most of these songs in the first set, and I still cannot believe how hot it is. It
Yeah.
really is, to me, one of the best, greatest first sets I've ever heard. There's
Yeah,
no doubt.
it's pretty awesome. So I never until really this week, I never really had a chance to embrace the first set. So yeah, well, very impressed. It was great to listen to it. I'm sure now that I know the show, I'm going to be going back to it. So yeah, let's go into that second set,
Oh my
and
God, the
the
second
intensity
set
right,
is
right out of the bat is the
right out
same
of the
thing.
gate. Yeah, Bertha into Good Lovin', incredible. Very hot. Notes in Bertha are amazing. Another great song. Again, I picture being a college student there, bopping up and down, you're hearing Bertha. I mean, it's amazing the power of music.
Yeah,
It's
you
trans
hear these songs so much, you almost take it for granted. It's not foolish heart. It's not touch. Like Bertha,
correct.
Bertha Good Love. It's so common, but it actually
But it's
it's a
so
great.
hot.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. This Good Lovin' is hot too. It's amazing.
yeah.
They
I
took
was
their time. I love the fact they did about 10 anymore, anymore. It's great. They do about 10 anymore. It's just great. I love
the Good Lovin'. I was definitely
the
impressed
song.
by the by Jerry's guitar and that. It's like a
Oh
very
yeah,
hot Good Lovin'. So yeah, pretty impressed
very
with that.
hot. Yeah. Another hot one, like I had mentioned, is that Duke show, April. And again, that's a show. That was a homecoming weekend at a show at a college dorm, in a college auditorium. That brings out to me the best in the Grateful Dead. This Good Love is amazing, followed by a nice, beautiful Ship of Fools. I listened to the Ship of Fools a couple of times, and it's beautiful.
Yep.
And what follows the Ship of Fools is to me an epic, one of the great, to me, top five versions ever of Samson and Delilah. I don't know if you paid special attention to it, Howie, but Jerry absolutely rips in this
The
Samson and
third
Delilah.
solo really got me.
Oh
The
my
last
God,
one.
is it's smoking.
Yeah.
It is smoking. He does some extra, it's just a little different. So the signature lines that he does in the Samson, the ending, it's just all brought out to more effect. I can't explain. And again, that effect of him playing in front of a college crowd, I can't discount that. He's just going off. I love it. I could just picture his face.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it was kind of almost like it's definitely a throwback to that November run where he played Holgate, Binghamton, and
Oh my
Rochester, and
God,
yeah,
yeah. What about October, that unbelievable one from the Paramount Theater? Oh my God.
yeah, and then you got
There's some
SMU is
great
pretty hot
ones.
too.
Yeah,
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 so
there's I think that's 10-2 or 10, but those Samsons are incredible. I'll tell you, to me, Samson of Delilah might even be better in 78. This one's phenomenal. There's a great one from Huntington 4/16/78. There's one, I believe was it Duke? Yeah, they played one at Duke. But the best one, I think, the one that, and the show I mentioned before,
2-5. No,
7/78, Red Rocks.
oh,
That, if you haven't listened to that Samson in a while, oh my God, put that on. The last jam is scintillating, scintillating. just like this one. That's why I put this one in the
Hey,
top three.
just since we're on the topic, how about February 5th?
Oh, that's hot. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's incredible. Is that, yeah, that's the fifth. That's from
with
that
the
season.
long
I
Samson
always thought it was
intro.
the third. It's the fifth. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
accidental art. So that like Bob's mic wasn't working or something, so Jerry knew what to do. He
Yes.
just jammed out for like five
He just
minutes.
goes nuts.
Yeah,
Another great one is a show I was at in Richmond, which came out as a Dick's Picks. Remember?
85. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a great Samson and Delilah. It's phenomenal.
it had a
I was
nice.
there. I remember it being hot, and then we have the tapes to prove it.
It had a nice rebirth that tour because also Rochester's November 7th, 85 is very hot. I don't know if you've
Oh
heard
yeah,
that
I didn't know
lately.
that.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's a hot tour, I'll tell you. Great show, that Richmond show. But anyway, so that sets up, the ending jam, the big fat jam of the show, that is phenomenal. And it starts with Terrapin Station,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, for a
amazing.
second, I thought you were going to forget. I thought you forgot Terrapin, and we're jumping into the other
No,
one.
the last time I forgot Terrapin, I got in trouble and a mule bit me in my ankle. So I don't want that to happen again. But I will never, ever forget Terrapin. I love the song. It's a great song. Jerry's always into it. I love his voice. I love the lyrics. I love singing along with that song. They usually make mistakes, Jerry does, with the lyrics, but in this one, he does pretty well. I don't think there's any vocal flubs. And that goes into a great drum. It's funny. This Terrapin has a great outro drum, and the drums. It's only about a 7.5 minute drums. It's not like the rhythm devils, as they were calling it, when they got into it really in April. And you listen to that box set I was talking about, where they do 15, 20 minute, 25 minute drum solos. They hit one that was 25 minutes. I believe that might be the one from Cassell Coliseum in Blacksburg.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech. They did like a 25-minute drum solo. This one's only 7, 8 minutes, but
Hey,
it's
quickly, I'm going
incredible.
to sneak in the Terrapin refrain here because it was just so powerful
Oh, it's
the way they
beautiful.
did it. So yeah,
It's
quick
amazing.
quick Terrapin refrain, and we'll get to the big conclusion. All right, so on with the drums and the, the drums here are great sounding, no space, right into the other one, which is kind of
Oh
the way
my God, Howie,
it's incredible. Yeah,
it really is. The drums pick up towards the end to this really fast pace, and then simultaneously, Phil starts hitting those other one notes at the same time as the drummers are starting to thump, and it lasts about 7 or so seconds, and then when they go into the other one, it's incredible. It's like like what's the best? Like an explosion, a musical explosion. I heard it this morning when I was taking a walk around the neighborhood because I wanted to refocus on the main jam. So I only had enough time for the other one into the Close Encounters theme that they do, Saint Stephen, the not of the whole ending jam. But the other one, I'll tell you, the beginning of it is amazing. It's could be the best intro to another one I've ever heard. I've
oh
never
yeah, it's
heard
cool because
that
you could
extended
hear the other
drumming.
one before Phil kicks in or Jerry kicks in. You could hear it in the
Amazing.
drums. It's yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I think of, wow, could you imagine having been there? Just this palpable energy coming from the stage, and from the audience. Amazing. And not just to be this other one cooks. It's
Yep.
amazing. I mean, there's a great other one from 78, 78. This one might be, it rivals that one. This one might be the best one from 1978. The only post hiatus other one that I think that compares, obviously, is the one from 5 18 77,
Fox
that one from
Theater.
Atlanta. Oh my God, that's beyond incredible. And you got the one from Colgate, but the one
One
from
verse.
Colgate's
Yeah.
only about 6 minutes, so it's only one verse. This is fully developed. In fact, there's about 5 minutes and 45 seconds of incredible jamming before Bobby goes into the other one, the initial verse. And
Yeah.
that 5 minutes and 45 seconds is pure jamming. Grateful Dead at their finest. I couldn't believe how hot it was as I'm listening to it this morning, Howie. I'm like, this
Hey,
is phenomenal.
it's awesome. I'll tell you one which will blow. We were there. Ventura 73183. It's actually you got to pull it out
Oh,
again.
yeah, we were there with Steve Goldberg, right?
That one's pretty amazing.
Well,
But
were they there? That was the show
yeah,
with Steve Goldberg with that hot sugary and the music never
yeah.
stopped.
The other one you got to listen to it again. It's
Oh,
insane,
it's
man.
amazing. That
Yeah,
show was incredible.
yeah.
That's an underrated gem. There you go. I have your next unheralded or underrated gem for your next.
Unhealthy, underrated jams.
But we were at that show, correct? But I'll tell you, this other one, it just blew me away. Again, there's certain other ones, post hiatus that are really good, but to me, the heart and the epic other ones are 1972 for me.
Yeah,
There's so many, they're so good. They're extended jamming. We don't have to name them. You all know them from
yeah.
Europe 72.
You
There's
could
so
stumble into any one of them.
yeah, Baltimore,
Yeah,
917. I
yeah,
mean, come on, it's incredible.
yeah.
But this, I think it's, if you include the Close Encounter jamming, it's about a 20-minute other
Yeah,
one.
it's
Some
22 with
people
the
call
close
that
encounters. Yeah,
space, but I think it's still part of the other one, so
yeah.
it's about
It's an
20 minutes.
extension.
People
Yeah.
without that, it's 17 minutes. What a phenomenal other one. To me, that might be the heart of the second set. But they don't stop there, Howie. They do that beautiful Close Encounters thing because must have,
Hey,
supposedly, Jerry saw the movie multiple times and loved the movie. So
yeah.
that's why he was mimicking those notes.
One thing before you get this, so that the first jam's good. Weird does the verse, and then when they're doing that between before the second verse, they're
Oh, it's
jamming the other
great.
one. But then they go into something that almost sounds like Close Encounters. Also, it gets very spacey.
Yes, it
It's
gets
like they're
very
warming up for
spacey.
the Close Encounters. Every time I listen to that, I get lost, and I think I'm in the Close Encounters, and then they come back into the other one.
They
I'm
come
like,
back
yeah,
into the other one, yeah. And then they fool around for a little while before they get into that Close Encounters stuff. But yeah, this other one, I'll tell you, it's amazing. The length is great, the singing's great, Bobby's voice is great.
yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. I'll tell
And
you.
it's kind of like a little bit of a turn from the show because it's starting to get back to more typical Grateful Dead, more spacey, more misdirection, and
Correct.
all that kind of stuff. But then that switches on a dime as they break into the Saint Stephen out of the Close Encounters,
Oh my
man.
God. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I wasn't expecting that. If I was listening to the show, if I was even a seasoned Deadhead who was at the show, I wouldn't have expected the Saint Stephen. I expected a Black Peter. That was they were doing at this point. Maybe a Saint Steve, maybe a Wharf Rat, maybe a Stella
oh,
Blue.
it sounded like it had Wharf Rat written all over, like it was
Oh,
a
for
slide right
sure.
into
But they
Wharf Rat.
break into a
Yeah,
Saint Stephen, and it's so hot. It is so hot. Jerry's hitting these incredible notes at the end of it. It gets cut a little short, but I guess because hey, they got a
Yeah.
curfew or whatnot, but it's still an amazing, almost 8 minute Saint Stephen where they don't do the slow intro either. It breaks
Yeah, they
right
broke
into
right
the
into it.
ferocious.
Yeah,
They jump head first right in, and they
very
just.
distinctive. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And that St. Stephen goes into a 14-minute not fade away, a great not fade away that has a signature middle that's very bluesy, very slow. Jerry's like, he's kind of like looking for notes and finding a new direction to go within the theme of the jam. It's
Hey,
amazing.
let me stop
Very
you for one
different.
second here. I just wanted to get another quick audio highlight in here. We're going to hear the end of the close the end of the Saint
Other one with the
Stephen.
Close Encounters jam. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll put that at the end. We're going to do the Saint Stephen into the Not Fade Away, and even the first two solos of the Not Fade Away, they're quick but
Oh yeah, they're
and
amazing.
hot, man. So
Yeah,
yeah,
very hot.
let's
I
get a
love it.
little bit of that in here, and then we'll carry on with the Not Fade Away. Your thoughts on the Not Fade Away? Enjoy.
heartbeat. You're gonna give your love to me. I wanna love you night and day. Our love will not fade away. No, our love will not fade away. Not fade away. My love is bigger than a Cadillac. I tried to show you, but you tied me back. Your love for me has got to be real. You're gonna know just how I feel. Love's real, not fade away. Not fade away.
All right. So one of the cool things about that Not Fade Away when they go into it, Phil's doing some incredible bass work right at the beginning. Just, yeah, very hot. And as you were saying, they go into a nice bluesy stretch and it's Not Fade Away.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's slow. I heard it this morning. They slowed it down. It was really nice. Jerry's, kind of noodling and looking for another direction. And it really takes up a bluesy, pseudo jazzy jam, for a few minutes, but it's perfect. It's beautiful. And then they get back into more linear, serious jamming into the ending verse, which is great. They're all saying it's perfect. Perfect 14-minute, Not Fade Away.
Definitely a powerhouse, not like a 77 one. It's got its own distinct,
Right. Very different. Very different. Hey, are we short on time? I just noticed.
We're getting close, but we're also almost finished with the show, which is good.
Well, which is good. I forgot if we're 40 minutes or 50 minutes because
you're still live. I think when it gets to 1 or 2 minutes, it gives me the thing on the screen.
Oh, perfect,
so perfect.
Good. Yeah, so that Not Fade Away to me, another great example. Hey, another great example from this time period, check out William and Mary for 1578. Beautiful Not Fade Away as well. This one, though, I'll tell you, it's long and strong. That's the best way, I could describe it. Long and strong, with just every member of the band really into it, Donna included, No major Donna screech, that people don't like. I'll tell you, there was nothing like that. And then the Around and Around is incredible. They come out of Not Fade Away into another Bobby song, and they kill it. This Around and Around is perfect.
Chuck Berry would have hearing them, incredible. Hearing the Buddy Holly to Chuck Berry, so strange hearing them back to back because they're full-bodied versions.
Exactly.
These eventually would be neutered.
It would be different, right? You'd hear a Not Fade Away one show, and then the Around and Around maybe the following.
And they'd be really short, and these are
correct.
They
did them in the same show. Yeah, this Around and Around clocks in at like 9 minutes. I mean, it's long and it's got that great jamming at the end. Great notes by Jerry in the initial jam. He's going nuts. It's he's just having the greatest time. The whole band is. And that ends the show before they come back for a great encore, which they were doing back then in '78 a lot, was U.S. Blues, and it's a great U.S. Blues. It's just a perfect way to cap off, a perfect show in a college auditorium, at the University of Oregon. Just perfection to me. Both sets are incredible. They really hit their stride. They're really playing up to the crowd. I just give them so much credit for being in the moment and knowing their environment. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard to play. Again, the Dead were so good at capturing the moment, and also, they play to the crowd, but the crowd plays off of them, and it's a symbiotic relationship. And they really take that to its extreme level at a show like this. You know what I'm saying? Where the crowd is engaged, the musicians are engaged. It makes just for a perfect. And to have it now on CD, almost 50 years later, perfect quality, by the way. It's just perfect quality. I'm not sure if this is a Betty board. This might have been recorded by who was recording right before Betty? I forgot. But
Hey, Doug, thanks again for joining us on the podcast. And as usual, the Zoom call cuts out in mid-sentence as Doug's talking. I mean, I think we have a perfect record going here. It never cuts out when I'm talking. It's always cuts out on Doug. But for the second month in a row, we made it through the entire Grateful Dead show, which is pretty cool, which is what we try to do here. Because we could talk about this all day and all night, man. The Grateful Dead, once again, amazing everybody. And Eugene, Oregon, with that great show. But you would come to expect it if you saw enough Grateful Dead in 77 and 78, night in, night out, what the band was doing. But this show, besides being extra hot, is very distinctive. And the encore, U.S. Blues, I found this to be an amazing version. Garcia's solo is incredible. If you think about it, from 1974, when they first started playing U.S. Blues, they did it as Wave That Flag prior to that in 73. But when it was U.S. Blues in 74 through, I think, 1978, pretty much, the versions are just ripping, and there's like so much energy because it was definitely a song that spoke to the times. But yet, the lyrics apply just as well to today as they did 20, 30 years ago. It's that timeless songwriting by Robert Hunter, very much Dylan-esque, man. I'm sure Bob Dylan loves this song. Big fan of Robert Hunter's writing. And U.S. Blues, great song now, great song back then, and a great song into the future. Even though we took it for granted when we saw it once out of every 3 or 4 shows in the 80s, but tremendous song. And everybody, thanks for listening to the podcast this week. Once again, it's Jerry Garcia Band month. Next 3 weeks, Jerry Garcia Band material. And hey, my website, tangledupatunes.com, if you want to reach out and make a comment on the show, suggestions for future shows, reach me at catfishgarcia82@yahoo.com. And we got one last piece of music for you. We can't do the Eugene show without getting the Close Encounters in, so that will be the outro. The Close Encounters into some of the St. Stephen, and enjoy that. That's our last audio highlight from this show. Speak to you guys next week. Peace out.